I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to these
I'm
games.
a fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not
They told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number one picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg, and then he tears the Achilles. All right, you're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ehlinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe a starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
We're officially going downhill right now. No, the show's not going downhill. Like, oh, no, it's all over. Understand this. It's a hump day Wednesday, Joe. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. What's the middle of the week? It's a Wednesday. What happens when you have a 2-hour show and you get 1 hour into it here? You're now officially on the back end of the week. That's the way we do it, people. See that? Spend time with us. We make everything go quicker, which is fantastic, so you can improve the rest of your day and your SportsGrid day and be smarter when you get around the water cooler. Donnie right side and Joe Ranieri. The energy always high on this show, Joe. Look at that. I could see the weekend from here, man. I could see it.
You can smell it, Donnie. It's just around the corner here. And we still got a lot to be decided, by the way, not only NFL, but national championships. And, of course, college basketball in full effect as well. So a lot going on here this time of year.
Absolutely it is. Next week, the Christmas break. Fantastic stuff. But we got so much good sports talk to absolutely get through here, Joe. And let's not waste any time to get to the early lineup on a Wednesday morning. We're going to start with the New York Knicks. Champions! Yes, they are, Joe. They're champions with a 124-113 victory over the San Antonio Spurs. And we actually got a clip from the Knicks post-game presser right here.
Banner, no banner?
I don't know. I'll let y'all decide that. Someone's gonna be mad whatever we do. I'll let them figure that one out.
I don't know what you thought the feeling, if you envisioned what the feeling would be like winning something like this. Did it match that? Did it exceed it? Were the feelings a little bit more there than you thought going into it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited. It's a goal of ours that we get to check off, and it's an important stepping stone for us, and we can still learn from this game and get better as well. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity that we presented ourselves, and through the ups and downs of the game, being down 10, being up 10, and we found a way to win.
I got to tell you, it's funny as you watch them because they wear the hats and the shirts, but they know they can't say hang a banner because of what that actually means, where it's like the sacred part. Like if it was hockey, had a little tournament, like, hey, you get the mini Stanley Cup. Is that a banner? Do you want to celebrate that? Like, no, we want the actual championship. But it's a nice achievement. He is right by that. But you can't put I don't know. Do you put the banner up? Didn't the Lakers put the banner up with all those championships?
Lakers have no shame. Yeah, Milwaukee's got it up, and the Lakers got it up. I mean, yes. Listen, it is what it is. But I think more importantly, it shows that the New York Knicks at this stage of the game, ready for, do you really need to make a ton of changes? I mean, you now all of a sudden have learned that you can rely on that bench of yours to come in a big spot. And it wasn't like the Spurs were laying down. The Spurs were going for the kill there last night. So, I mean, kudos. They seem to have the right chemistry, the right depth. And more importantly, Mike Brown is pulling pushing all the right buttons here. So, yeah, I don't think the Knicks got to make a whole lot of changes. If anything, I think they learned a little something about this team moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely there. Knicks, get that championship here. Let's keep moving. Mike McDaniel, you know what he's saying? I'm hoping to bench Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, he makes a lot of money, but he's not performing here when the season is over. Sometimes it's time to get down to the evaluation process. Evaluating what? I have no idea, Joe. But here's McDaniel's talking about Tua.
Are you considering a quarterback change this week?
Well, I think the quarterback play last night was not good enough. And so for me, everything's on the table.
And who would you consider going to if you make a change?
Well, I think that we're in the process of game planning for the Cincinnati Bengals. So in that process, we're trying to determine who will give us the best chance to win, and I'll probably give you more clarity on that tomorrow, as we are, I think, 14 hours removed from the game.
Would you expect whoever you go with to be the decision now, or have it, practice off or whatever? If this
I would expect it to be tomorrow.
Dolphins look like they're sponsored by Baptist Health, Joe. I think Dolphins fans should be checked into some Baptist Health on the way this team's been treating them. How about that?
Well, let me help you here, Coach. Okay, Zach Wilson does not give you the best chance of winning that game. Let me just tell you right now, does not give you the best chance of winning the game. So, I mean, kudos. And the fact that he didn't mention any names, I thought was great. The quarterback play. Well, there's only one quarterback. I mean, who else played that it wasn't good in? It was only one guy. So, call him out by name. Unbelievable. Train wreck. And just like that, one loss and the Dolphins are right back to being a disaster.
Like, how you get on the playground, Joe? It's like, hey, I'm a 320-pound kid. Let me play wide receiver. Go ahead and do it. Like, the Steelers were running tight ends on toss sweeps and scoring touchdowns against them on Monday night to completely embarrass them. It can't get any worse, or maybe it can when you put Zach Wilson in there. Alan Lazard, he's like, you know what? I'm out of New York looking for a job right now. Usually there's a guy that plays quarterback in his 40s that likes to bring his friends along when he can. Alan Lazard, see where he goes. He might be a Steeler in the near future. Yes, me.
Oh, yeah. Or if not, at least maybe a chauffeur for Aaron Rodgers, because he'll basically do and follow Aaron Rodgers wherever he goes. So, we'll see. If he's willing to sign for next to nothing, I'm sure Aaron will be more than happy to bring him on board there to catch or drop a couple of passes in the next few weeks.
You know why the NBA loves expansion here? Not because they put a new team in a new city, but it's because if you do put a new team in a new city, let's just say you go back to Seattle, that owner goes, all right, I got to pay $500 million as a check just to get into this league, which the rest of the owners put in their back pocket. They love expansion. Expansion is definitely coming to the NBA. The only question is which city is going to get it first, or cities. Do we have two teams coming into the league? Maybe one in Vegas, maybe one in Seattle.
Oh, I think you're going to get two, Donnie. I think you're going to get them both at some point here. They say they're going to decide in 2026 whether or not to add two teams. But yeah, Vegas and Seattle definitely likely to have an NBA team over the next couple of seasons.
Let me ask you this question too, Joe, because they're supposed to be businessmen. Like, I don't know what businessman's like, you know what? I'm going to move this team out of Seattle and go to tiny Oklahoma City. Is Oklahoma City good for basketball? Yeah, it is, but you can't make any money there as an owner. Same thing, I always just took a look at Al Davis. Like, if Al Davis played his cards right, Joe, he'd be the only team in Los Angeles to be the most expensive franchise in the history of sports. But he kept wanting to go back to Oakland and split a market with San Francisco. It was always amazing to me that a top market in Seattle lost a basketball team, not to another top market, but to a tiny market in OKC. Whoever gets that job, or should I say gets that franchise in Seattle, that's going to be an absolute banger here. You know who's looking for maybe some new ownership, Joe? Nashville Predators. Nick Saban's like, I got some funds and I'm quite bored. Let me buy into the Preds.
I would just let him coach too. Like, let him be on the bench and just let him just go absolutely ballistic in that locker room. Be fantastic, kind of must-watch television. But yeah, Nick getting involved in little NHL ownership. You got to love it.
FIFA World Cup, Joe. Football, as they say around the globe, is the global game of choice. Whether you're ultra rich or really, really poor, you can just get out there and play soccer at any time. But FIFA tells you, like, well, those poor people, or if you don't have millions of dollars, you ain't making it into the game because one seat costs $5,000 for a preliminary round game. Stop it. So FIFA's going to slash some of the tickets. By the way, what tickets are they slashing if they're already sold out? I don't understand this.
Yeah, exactly. Lynn, the bottom line, this is we experience this with the Super Bowl here. Like, we understand. Yeah, I understand. We're good enough to show up to all the games and follow and support our teams and our countries, but until, of course, it gets to the grand stage, at which point none of us will ever be able to afford to go see a game. It's hilarious, Donnie. It really is.
Now, sometimes I don't pay attention up, but I just saw that tweet here in that picture, and it said they're going to have so basically what they're doing is saying, like, okay, we're sold out. Can we squeeze in a bleacher somewhere that's going to add 1,000 people that barely can't see the game? That's $50. You've got now you got me, FIFA. Now you got me upset. That's something I don't need to be upset about. So an 80,000 seat stadium that's already sold out, we're going to push an extra 1,000 people at the top that can't see anything and still make them pay $50. Yeah, you're doing everybody really well, FIFA. Kylian Mbappe, maybe he can afford a seat because he's getting an extra $62 million in his bank account. FIFA, give me a break. More hot topics on the way next. The early line on the grid. It's how we do it. It's hump day. We'll be right back.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to these
I'm
games.
a fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not
They told me. I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. You get a couple of number one picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg. And then he tears the Achilles. All right? You're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ehlinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe a starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
College football playoff, it's on the horizon. It's going to start Friday night. You got Alabama traveling to Oklahoma in a one-point game here in a low total, some windy conditions. But Alabama, Oklahoma, sign me up. I want to watch it. I want to cheer it on, and I want to bet it here, Joe. But if we are taking a look at the college football championship odds to win it all, it still starts with Ohio State, even though we just saw Ohio State, Joe, take a loss to Indiana. Indiana, plus 310 price, followed by Georgia and Texas Tech and Oregon and Texas A&M. Looking at those price points right now, do you agree that Ohio State should still be the favorite right now to win the college football playoff?
Yes, I mean that game aside there against Indiana, which by the way they had an opportunity, with a chip shot field goal that the kicker shanked. That game would have gone to overtime, and they were very much in it to win it at that point. So, and plus Ryan Day experience wise, I mean they're the champs, Donnie, right? You're the champs until somebody actually beats you when it matters the most. So something tells me it won't be the last time we're going to see Ohio State and Indiana anyway. But yeah, I say they're a deserved favorite at this point.
Going to be fun. Like, there's a couple different ways this can play out. You take a look down the script. I know Texas Tech is taking on some money. They were 10-1 about a week ago here. Now the college football playoffs, they're a little bit lower. But also keep in mind, first-round games played on the campuses of the team with the higher seed. Second-round game, you go right to neutral site. So there is no advantage, which I do think is a shame. And I hope it changes because bowls – let's just say the Rose Bowl versus a game played at Texas show exactly the same people watching on TV. I got to watch because the Rose Bowl. Nobody cares about that. We care about the teams on the field that play. And I would like to incentivize teams that get the first four buys. Well, their incentive is they don't play. Well, also look at the ADs from the schools going like, you know what? We can have a game on campus at Texas A&M and sell 115,000 tickets, or we can have half the allotment of the Rose Bowl and not make as much money, but that's our gift here. Stop it, man. Play that second-round game on campus. Let the teams 1 through 4 experience their own home playoff game as well and take that gate in and also support your fan base and give your team an extra boost. Because if you ask Joe, hey, Texas A&M, do you want to be at home down in Texas, or would you like to be at the Peach Bowl somewhere like in Atlanta? No, they'd want to be at home at this point. But let's take a look, Joe, at those games that will kick off. Alabama and Oklahoma on a Friday night, standalone game. We talked about it earlier in the show. Do we think the wind is going to be a factor? When I look at this game, and I say I do think the spread is correct here with Alabama as a favorite. The one thing we know about Alabama, yes, they are leaking oil, but if I look and say, I got the better quarterback, the better wide receivers, and the better overall offense, I lean towards Kalen DeBoer's team. But Oklahoma is home. It is windy. They have a great defense here. But I don't know if you can look at a college football playoff game and say, I just hope we win it with defense alone, because it looks like that's what Oklahoma is going to have to do.
Yeah, well, and good luck with that. At some point, you've got to be able to score points, Donnie, in order to win, especially in the playoffs right now. And listen, I think this break, maybe it couldn't have benefited anybody better than Alabama, who was dealing with injuries on both sides of the ball. So this is giving them an opportunity to catch their breath here, get healthy. I just don't know there's anything that Oklahoma is going to do that is going to significantly increase their chances of the offense being better for this game. I do think the latest version of Alabama that we saw, I think their ceiling is much higher. And I think a little time off, you're going to have a chance to see that against even this great Oklahoma defense.
Isn't it great, Joe? You look at this game on a Friday night, it's a 1.5-point spread. You say, man, 2 good football teams playing. Then you get to Saturday at noon kickoff. It's Miami and Texas A&M. You're staring at 3.5 to 3. Oh, man, that's a great football game at a total of 50.5. Some windy weather expected at Kyle Field down in College Station as well. But also, Joe, the ticket count, 50-50 on both sides between Miami and Texas A&M. This is an even game right here. Miami got the boost of, we didn't know if we're going to be in. Now we're in. Let's make it count. Going up against Texas A&M, who last time we saw them, Texas beat them.
Yeah, it's, again, you're dealing with a lot in this game here. I mean, I, for one, always thought Texas A&M was the benefactor of a very easy SEC schedule, Donnie, because they didn't have to play any of the top 10, 15 teams from the SEC that were in the national landscape. So, and when they finally did, they played Texas, and that didn't work out all that well. So I think Miami, from a talent perspective, maybe the most talented team on the field here, most experienced team on the field. Now they got to go out and get it done. Again, Miami as a favorite is one thing. Miami as a dog, even on the road, is a whole different animal. And they showed you it doesn't matter what the weather is, Donnie. They went to Pittsburgh and absolutely destroyed them. I think they're going to be absolutely fine in this game.
Ooh, game number 3 we'll talk about here, Joe. This is going to be on Saturday at 3:30 afternoon. We just talked about a game, 2 coin flips there, 2 really good mega conference teams. Then we get Tulane and Ole Miss on a Saturday afternoon and a 17.5-point spread, and a total of 56.5. The question is not Ole Miss going to win this football game, but how much can they win it by, Joe? Is there any thoughts on taking Tulane as an underdog in this game, or is it just Ole Miss with a new coach looking to make inroads and move forward in the college football playoff?
So listen, I think Oregon is going to roll, right? JMU. I don't think that's even going to be close. I think this is a very tricky spot, not necessarily from the outright upset, but from the idea of expecting Ole Miss with the drama that they've had to deal with, the fact that Kiffin is off to LSU, that they've had to deal with that, and the fact that they beat this Tulane team in September. And we all watched. Tulane became a better team as the season went on. They've got an experienced quarterback there. This could be a very tricky spot because Ole Miss could feel like, it's fine. We just got to go through the motions. We've already beat them once. I got to think all the value in this game is on Tulane.
If you look at this whole schedule, Joe, for the bowl season, and what I mean by bowl season, really the college football playoff, which game this weekend in college football are you most excited about in the college football playoff? Like, what's your must-see TV? And I don't mean like, hey, I got a good edge on, like, Tulane's not going to cover. Is there one game that you have to sit down and say, I can't wait to see this one play out?
Oh, yeah, it's Miami and Texas A&M by far. Because if Miami doesn't win this game, wait till you see the reaction from Notre Dame fans. It is going to be, part of me is like, Miami, if you lose, won't be the worst thing to happen because the drama we'll get from Notre Dame side of things will be over the top. But I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. I think Miami wins the game, and they are going to open it up as an outright dog winner, I think.
Yeah. Here's the favorite part about it. We should be in there. Oh, who's playing Miami? Yeah, Miami beat you. Oh, who's the other team? A&M? Yeah, A&M beat you too. Enough, Notre Dame. Go home.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to these
I'm
games.
a fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They smashed.
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing. They
look,
well, somebody's got money.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Predictive markets here we can have some fun with and see exactly where the public are going and also how much volume is being traded. Joe, the NBA, which had a successful night, I guess you could say, solo game. New York Knicks take down the Spurs. You had a major franchise with the New York Knicks. I'm not saying the Spurs aren't, but you have superstar power on the Spurs. It's a pretty good mix and a good game that was competitive right down to the end, which the Knicks won and covered the 2.5-point spread. If you look at the MVP winner for this year's NBA season, the leader right now on the best basketball team, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's got a 50% chance, Joe, up actually 4% here, which means he's taking on some money. Followed by Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Victor Wembanyama. If you are betting today and what that could mean for the future and a profit, Joe, are you riding with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or somebody else? And by the way, 100 on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pays you back $200. It's a 2-to-1 price.
I don't. I don't think. I think as this team moves along, Donnie, I think there's going to be a lot more concentration on some other guys. You know, some of the other guys on that team could be stealing votes. I think there might get a little SGA fatigue in the marketplace, so to speak, there, certainly with voters. And then in the meantime, you've got guys like, you got the Joker there in Denver, who continues, as far as I'm concerned, to be the best player in the NBA that nobody can actually stop. And I think we're far from SGA just wrapping this up. I think there's more value down the board as you move along there. And some of the old, the oldies but goodies here. Don't sleep on Luka. The only question is, will any of these guys, some of these guys on the list, actually qualify enough to win it? Because you got to play in 65 of the 82 games. So, that's a problem with some of these guys.
That's again, when Giannis comes back, he'll probably have the best statistics, but not be eligible because he didn't play enough games in this NBA season. And also, where is he going to be, which we'll get to in just a few moments. But in pro football, the NFC North division winner, what a great division. It's a shame Minnesota's like, hey, man, we're already out of the playoff race because of this division that we play in. But Green Bay, Chicago, and Detroit, all legitimate teams. And it's interesting to see, Joe, on the Kalshi marketplace right now that Detroit's only a 6% chance of winning that division. Good football team, struggled during the season. $100 wager pays back $1,429. Why? Because Green Bay and Chicago are the leaders. 49% from Green Bay. And by the way, that's down 20 percentage points on their chance since the high that we had just a few short days ago. Chicago has been boosted up 24%, Joe. So they are neck and neck. I'm asking you, Green Bay or Chicago, who wins this division?
So what's a $100 wager on Chicago pay right now here? If we were placing that wager,
209, Joe. Just about 2-to-1. Just about 2-to-1.
There you go. Because the injuries are starting to pile up there for Green Bay. Something tells me, Donnie, especially if what happened. What do you think it'll be after Chicago if they end up winning this 80. Game on Saturday? What's it going to be?
Got to be 80 plus, right? Got to be 80 plus.
There you go.
So as Joe's pointing out, which I do think is interesting, the fact that Green Bay and Chicago play this weekend, you don't have to see this through, Joe. What are you betting right now? The winner of this football game, because you can probably cash out with as much as you're going to make at that point and say, why mess with the final 2 games of the season for an extra $1 or $2 at that point? You would just cash out with that victory. Should be fun to see it play out, but that's Green Bay and it's Chicago. They'll play this weekend, basically neck and neck. Whoever wins that game, they're going to rock it right up to 80+% in the marketplace, and we'll see where it goes here. Some of the fun wagers that you can place here also are speculation wagers, Joe. Not what's actually going to happen on the field, but what happens off of the field or the court. Giannis Antetokounmpo's next team here stays with Milwaukee or retires, 43%. That's the leader. Second place, New York. Third place, Miami. If I had to wager now, I don't think it's going to be what stays with Milwaukee or retires. I do think it could be New York. Now, understand this. Here's the rule summary. If Giannis Antetokounmpo's next team stays with Milwaukee or retires before February 2026, then the market resolves to yes. So there you go with a little caveat there. For me, I think it's the New York Knicks. I really do.
I think it's the Miami Heat. I don't, Pat Riley has a history of pulling these out of a hat, right? Just think a la, Shaq and others down, Jimmy Butler and everything else. And the reason I don't think it's the Knicks is because they won that game last night. Why are we throwing Giannis into the middle of the mix
Come on.
in February.
Do it.
I'm not buying it. Not buying it. Miami is the play.
I'm telling you right now, you're going to see Giannis on one of these viral clips yelling out, bing, bong, and you know he's going to head to New York, and they will throw everybody out besides Jalen Brunson to get Giannis Antetokounmpo in New York to try to win a championship here. Fantastic stuff as we continue to move along. The NFL is taking center stage right here on the early line. Can't wait to talk about it.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got a.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show.
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter.
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Big Week 16 in the NFL. A lot to be decided, which includes a monster game on Thursday night, 2 games on Saturday, full slate on Sunday, and then a Monday night football game. Then we head into Christmas week, which, again, gets us some of those midweek games that we absolutely love to see. But let's start and talk about a game here that's going to be played on Sunday afternoon, Joe, at 1 p.m. It's a game between the Los Angeles Chargers in the thick of the playoff race in the AFC with maybe a chance to win the division if things go right for them and maybe not so well for the Denver Broncos. But understand this, the Dallas Cowboys are fighting for their playoff lives. But, Joe, there is a caveat here. You see the graphic on the screen. Cowboys are favored by -2.5, a total of 49.5. The Philadelphia Eagles play the Washington Commanders on Saturday at 5 o'clock. Should the Philadelphia Eagles, Joe, win that game, Dallas is officially out of the playoffs. So how do we play this moving in? Now, also, when you look, it's not as if Dallas is not eligible for the playoffs on Sunday afternoon, Dak Prescott doesn't play, CeeDee Lamb hits the IR, and they don't play George Pickens. We're still too early in the season for that final game of the season to not get guys hurt. Is that come into your psyche at all? Do you want to watch Saturday play out before? Because also, the added incentive is if Washington pulls the upset on Philadelphia, you might get an extra motivated Dallas Cowboys squad.
Yeah. Well, a lot depends on that. But either way, I just don't know whether or not we can trust Dallas in this spot here. And give the Chargers credit. My goodness. There were some doubts here of what they'd be able to do on the road against Kansas City, and they put those to bed. And, the lot of injuries coming out of that last week's Dallas game, Donnie, including Quentin Williams, who left with a concussion late in that game. So there are a lot of question marks I have regarding this Dallas team. The one thing I can tell you is it appears the Chargers have rallied around figured some things out. They got their running game going again. A very dangerous team indoors. Yes, I know Dak's been great at home, but you know what? Justin Herbert's an indoor quarterback as well. Man, this feels like, if anything, maybe we're getting a few more points than people think in this game.
Yeah, no, it's a dome game, and you get ready to go. And also take a look at Herbert. As we said again, that hand, an extra couple weeks here to get ready. You saw that with on Monday Night Football. Say, hey, man, broken wrist here for Aaron Rodgers. Looks pretty good with that broken wrist here a couple weeks after that injury. Buffalo and Cleveland, they'll tee it up on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Windy conditions in Cleveland and colder conditions. If we look at the estimated temperature at kickoff, Joe, 25 degrees. You say, ooh, that's really cold. How about 20-mile-an-hour sustained winds on top of that? It's going to be frigid. Shedeur Sanders played last week in Chicago, freezing cold temperatures. He's going back to Cleveland, freezing cold temperatures. Boy, I wish there was one quarterback in the NFL that you could just print out of a 3D printer and say, he's perfect for weather. That's Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. They're 10.5-point favorites over Cleveland, and a total, Joe, at 42.5. The question isn't, is Buffalo going to win this game? What's that offense going to look like with Shedeur Sanders in freezing cold and super windy conditions?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I think the Bills have they have played the Browns, I think, 5 times over the last couple of years here. They're 5-0 straight up and against the number. And Josh Allen always plays better against elite defenses, good defensive teams, as opposed to the bad ones, Donnie. Teams that allow 20 points or less on defense a game. He's 28-9-1 against the number in his career. It's the teams that are terrible defensively that he seems to struggle covering spreads against. I would expect this to be right up Josh Allen's alley. I think the running game will get going. They will just wear down this defense of the Browns, and that'll be evident. I think the bigger question is, does Myles Garrett get a sack of Josh Allen? And if he does, how many is he getting? And does he break the record here doing it by sacking Josh Allen a couple of times?
How about this next game, Joe? Talking about T.J. Watt. Is he going to be able to sack anybody? Is he coming back this week? Because they're going to need him. They're going to play the Detroit Lions, who right now on fire on offense, but their defense is actually on fire as well. Yeah, no water to put out that bad defense here. Aaron Rodgers is going to go on the road and play in a dome. That's one thing here. But Detroit is at home. We know they play better in domes. At least offensively they do. They were in a dome last week, couldn't defend anything. But yet again, who's defending the Rams right now anyway? This line opened up at 6.5, Joe. A lot of outlets now that's sitting at 7 and a total of 51.5, which is up from 49.5 with multiple marketplaces, Joe, sitting at 52 points. Contrarian, yes. 85% of the tickets on the over. I get it here. But Pittsburgh, what's their MO and their game plan? Can they keep it within 7? Or are they saying to themselves, next week we got Cleveland. We'll be just fine to get back on track?
I mean, this Lions team is crazy. I think the last 10 games, Donnie, they've alternated wins and losses. I mean, we all know Lions off a loss, right? It's always been like, oh, hurry up and run to the window and getting it. It's going to be interesting. I will say this. Steelers been very good early in games. Them and the Patriots, it's the second half that maybe sometimes you got to scratch your head with. But Detroit also been very good early in games. Call me crazy, but I'm thinking a first half over, Donnie, in this game with these two offenses that like to come out. They are both very good early in games. The adjustments are going to have to come and then figure it out. But Detroit, 33-13 in the first half against the number when they play indoors. Kind of hard to look at anything but Detroit in this one.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it because Pittsburgh is really, their game is, yes, they can put up points when they need to, but they really want to play good defense and have that short passing game work and see how it figures out. With Detroit's the opposite. They're just trying to break home runs on every play. We'll see how that holds up where it's now really good weather conditions and Aaron Rodgers in a dome. We'll see how that one turns out. Kenneth Gainwell's turned into a really nice backup option for Jaylen Warren, and now also playing on even terms here moving forward. We'll see how that game plays out. Huge game in the AFC. Baltimore needs a win, no doubt about it. But so do the New England Patriots. So, well, Donnie, they're one of the best teams in the AFC. Why do they need a win? Because we want to see them against competition where we see like competition. New England's got a lot of wins under the belt against inferior competition. Let's not take that away. You can only play who's on your schedule. But it will mean a lot if New England goes on the road and meets the Baltimore Ravens in their own with Lamar Jackson. Here's the interesting caveat in this game. Line opened up at FanDuel 2.5, still sits today at 2.5. 8 out of every 10 tickets, though, Joe, still coming in on the New England Patriots. Do the Patriots bounce back and beat a quality football team? Technically, because this isn't the Ravens team that we've seen over the past couple years with great records here. New England on the road against Baltimore. What happens here?
Yeah, I mean, they blew a 21-0 lead last week, the Patriots. But the good news is this year, off a loss, Donnie, I believe they're 2-0 straight up and against the number here. But that 21-point loss is kind of historic because that didn't happen very often, even when Vrabel was a player in there. I think Lamar Jackson's getting a little healthier right now. I think that offense might be getting a little bit healthier. And Lamar is another guy that has been very good at night in the prime time under the lights in his career. I think Baltimore has been playing do-or-die football for a while now. I think if Lamar is healthier like he looks, I think this could be back-to-back losses for the New England Patriots.
We take a look at Baltimore, Joe, and it just seems like, some teams we just can't quit. Like, we can't quit the Kansas City Chiefs until the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, blows his knee out and they're actually out of the playoffs to say, okay, we can't put money on them. But Baltimore always seems like that team we're used to making it into the playoffs, used to not going deep, but you can't quit them because it's Lamar Jackson, it's Derrick Henry, it's a defense that usually shows up here, right? And I still feel like Baltimore is the one team, and almost the way I see about the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Eagles are a little bit better than Baltimore right now, the team that can catch lightning in a bottle at a really good price and make you some money. It still feels like it's Baltimore until it's not. And this game moving forward, Joe, the New England game, if they beat New England, that bus is going to start filling up once again on the Baltimore Ravens. I'm telling you it is.
Yeah, it is. But again, this is experience matters. We saw experience, the lack of it, bite New England last week against Buffalo. Now they're going to an even more experienced team against Baltimore, who, again, their season's been on the line for a while. And not a lot of adversity with the New England Patriots team here this season there, Donnie. So experience matters this time of year in December.
Also, we're starting to get to that point, Joe, where the NFL coaches are going to start to tip their hand, which is something they don't like to do. Like right now, Sean McVay is still telling you he doesn't know if Devontae Adams is going to play Thursday night. He's out. Don't worry about it. Don't listen to Sean McVay. He's out. But wait till you see weeks 17 and 18 where they tell you, we're going with the backups in this game. Use that information accordingly, people. And you know what information you like to use? George Kurtz. We're going to talk some NHL, but I got to ask him some questions about those Dallas Cowboys.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or actors are in it.
It's got a.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to these
I'm
games.
a fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not
They told me.
They
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's
They
amazing.
Don't.
Well, somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
In this economy,
But they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Hump Day Wednesday here at the Sports Grid Network, getting the information of what the people need to know and getting it to them as soon as we can. It's Donnie right side. It's Joe Ranier. We welcome in George Kurtz on a Wednesday, ready to get the people fired up. George, how we feeling today?
Feeling pretty well, right? We're in the middle of week 15 here in the NFL. Hockey's going on here, but about a week for the little NHL takes a little more moratorium for 3 days during the Christmas break, and the rosters will freeze also. So you do wonder if there'll be some trades this weekend.
Some trades, some goodies. We'll get to that in just a few moments. But George is our resident Cowboys fan here, specifically on the early line. George, I need an update on the Cowboys. Very underwhelming performance against the Vikings with a lot on the line. By the time we get to their game on Sunday, we might not have anything on the line. How we feel about the Cowboys this week? And also, what changes need to be made? What the heck's going on down there in Big Hat Country?
Listen, we all know what change needs to be made. It's not going to be made, but we all know what change needs to be made. Jerry needs to give up player control. Yeah. You know, until he does that, nothing changes with the Cowboys. It's the same TV show we've seen a million times. We all know the ending. All right, they'll have a good season every now and then. They will. But for the most part, they're going to be around an 8-8, or in this case, 8-9, 9-8 season. It's what they do. As far as the team on the field, they need defensive help. Right, they need help at linebacker. They need an edge rusher. They need secondary help here. And hey, they do have 2 number 1 picks coming up right now. The season ended today, which thankfully it does not. They would have the 14th and 23rd overall pick in the NFL. So there'll be options for the Cowboys there to go fix it. I just don't know if we trust Jerry to do the fixing.
Can't trust Jerry. We all know that, George. When I saw this headline the other day, I had to look twice. And, Kurtz, I was thinking of you because you don't often get, the best defenseman in the NHL switching uniforms at this point. But that's exactly what happened with Quinn Hughes heading to the Wild from the Canucks. Did you see this coming? Was there any rumors about this happening here with Minnesota?
Well, that's the key there. Right? We knew he was going to get traded. I don't think we thought it would be Minnesota. You know, the Devils, everyone wanted him to go to the Devils, go play with his brothers, Jack and Luke. Jack's still on the IL, apparently not close to returning either. And he still might do that. He has a year and a half left on his contract, so there's still a chance he does that at some point here. Listen, I like the deal for both teams. All right, Minnesota, you said it, Joe, if not the best defenseman in the NHL, top 3 at worst. All right, so you get a great defenseman there. Fine. You gave up Marco Rossi, a good young center, man. Good young player here. Like him a lot. You give up the defenseman, who I don't think he's already a good player. I don't think he'll beat Quinn Hughes in the future, but I think he'll be 85, 90% of them. So you combine that with Rossi, with the number 1 pick, and you got a prospect there. I said I think this is a win-win for both teams. My only issue is this. Guys, you got Quinn. Are you really as good as Colorado? How about Dallas? And they're in your division. I mean, so that's my only issue. If I'm Minnesota, if you're a poker player, which I am, you're all in now. This can't be your last move. You're all in. You got to make more moves now to be up there with the bigger boys. They're close, but they're not quite there yet.
Fashion show, sometimes, Joe, I call, or George, sometimes I call it when we start to head down and say, okay, who's coming into an NFL game? What are they wearing? A WNBA game, you get the picture. But in the NHL, the fashion is sometimes what they're going to wear on the ice. The stadium sweaters for 2026 have been released. Tampa Bay Lightning and the Boston Bruins. I don't know how much money we spent on actually designing these uniforms, George. How are we feeling about these TBLs and the Boston Bruins with a Bruin on there? Tough scene.
You know, for the most part, you're talking about one of my pet peeves. I hate all this stuff. I mean, this stuff they show on TV, the color rush uniforms or whatever. I mean, there's a reason the old uniforms worked. All right, this is all a money grab. I mean, let's get people to buy jerseys and all this stuff. I mean, it's every sport, right? The NFL, Major League Baseball does the All-Star uniforms. It's just gross. What the hell are we doing here? For the most part, I don't mind with Tampa Bay Lightning. There's a TBL. It's a cool combination. I don't hate the Bruins, but what's wrong with the traditional uniforms? Why do we need to do this? There's nothing wrong with the Boston Bruins road or home sweater. They're an original 6 team. It's been around for over 100 years. I think it works. I think it works, boys. So I don't hate them, which I usually do. I guess if you can answer which one I prefer, I like the Lightning sweater more than the Bruins.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. Well, won't be wearing any sweaters in Florida
Joe's gonna
anytime
buy
soon here, but they are home taking on the Kings tonight. 5.5, I think, is the total. It's a short number for Florida here. What are you thinking?
Don't Darcy Kemper, right? He's on the IL. Starting goaltender for LA was, I don't know if I want to call it run, but he was bumped into by Mikko Rantanen, who's now done this a few times, right? Put out Romanoff for the Islanders, hit the other player as well, and now he puts out Kemper. I think it's a concussion. They won't say it, but I think it was a concussion. He took a forearm elbow right to the head there. So Kemper's out. They'll go with the backup goaltender tonight. I assume it'll be Forsberg there. Hard not to like the Panthers. All right, the only question I'm thinking here, do I want to go with the under? 5.5, you're getting minus 102 right now. That's my only question here. Florida's definitely I think they'll win the game, and I kind of like the under as well here.
How about this next game, Joe or George? We take a look at this: Carolina and Nashville tonight. Now, also sometimes we take a look at the X's and O's on the ice here. How about off the ice? The Nick Saban effect as he buys into the Nashville program. Minus 184 price as a favorite for Carolina. Saban buys into the Preds. Does that give you any juice on the ice, George?
First of all, this is a great thing, right? Maybe it'll help out, down south there with the NHL. Great. Good, Nick. Enjoy. Apparently he wants to buy into some other professional teams in Tennessee as well. So we'll see how that works out there. Nashville's playing better. Now, that being said, they couldn't really play any worse. You're looking for a team that's going to make some trades. It's going to be Nashville. Stamkos is on the block. Marchessault is on the block here. I do wonder if they would move Roman Josi at some point here, but they're the team that everyone's going to be coming to, right? They're the shopping center. Let's go to Nashville, see what we can get prying out of them. Carolina, one of the best teams in the East here. Once again, hard not to like the Carolina Panthers, but you're not laying minus 184. So either you're parlaying it. This is not a great parlay night, but maybe you want to go to Vegas later on here. I can sort of see that. So give me Carolina, but you got to find a partner.
Any other games on the ice tonight that you like, George? Because we can't take the Flyers because they win every night. So who else do you like tonight, George? Come on now. Bring
Vegas against the Devils. A struggling team here. A lot of injuries. They just put Simon Nemec on the IL. I'm going to check a couple of things with Vegas. Jack Eichel and Shea Theodore missed practice yesterday. Little illness there, right? It's going around really for everybody right now. Assuming those guys play tonight, or at least one of them, I'm going to like the Golden Knights over the New Jersey Devils here. As I mentioned, that could be your parlay partner with the Carolina Hurricanes.
There's George Kurtz here. By the way, George, any Christmas miracle for the Dallas Cowboys here with their playoff hopes around 1%? Can you get it, or is the Grinch going to take it away from you?
The Cowboys were never going to win 4 straight. The Eagles were never going to lose to the Commanders. It's over.
It's over, baby. George Kurtz, thanks for joining us today. We'll talk to you soon. For myself and Joe, we'll be right back.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or actors are in it.
It's got
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They
I
smashed
told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's get a people final segment of the day right here on the early line. All that information you need on a hump day Wednesday, we provided that because tomorrow, boy, it goes fast this weekend. You start in the NFL, you end with the college football playoffs, you get more meat and action on Saturday, you got a full Sunday slate, and then you head into Monday, and we'll know a little bit clearer picture on who possibly could win that college football playoff and also who's going to make the playoffs in the NFL. It's elimination time, people. It's the way we get down to business. But this is the time, and this is the part of the show, Joe. We like to reach out to the public and get their take on a certain topic. Here's our Fade the Public poll. Fading the public, it's easy to do. By the way, you know I love to fade the public on my buy bets, which we're going to get to in just a few moments. But at SportsGrid on X is where you follow us at. Each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we give you a topic that we want to hear a response on. Today's topic, should the NBA expand into new markets? The question was asked. The answers are this: 100% great idea, or no, we don't want it. I'm a hater of a lot of things in the NBA, Joe. So I clicked the no, along with 73% of my counterparts here. We don't want expansion. For what? I don't know. We just don't want it, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I get that because sometimes, more isn't better, right, Donnie? We've seen this. Yeah, it kind of does. But I mean, at this point, you got 30, right? You got 30 teams in it. You've got a couple of cities in which, certainly you could make money. Seattle, people have been clamoring for years to get one back in there. And of course, why not Vegas, right? So I think it's happening one way or the other, but I'm kind of with the public here. If it ain't broke, why are we fixing it, Donnie?
Yeah, and also, it's not like good for Seattle if they get it, good for Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And, Vegas will be a destination, and you want to take a road trip to see your favorite NBA team, you pick out a game in Vegas. I get that. But also understand this. The product does dilute itself. Like we always worry about in the NFL, you have 32 good quarterbacks. No, we don't. We have like 12 good quarterbacks, but still have 32 teams. You put another few teams in the NFL, that dilutes the product down even more. Same thing with the NBA. If you're worrying about teams that, hey, they have 2 wins on the season and 3 wins, get used to another few teams with 2 to 3 wins on a season just trying to tank because you just don't have enough talent to spread around and make the league a worthwhile product. But at the end of the day, the owner's going to be like, hey, you want to put an extra $100 million in a transfer fee into my bank account just because the team wants to get back into Seattle? Yeah, come on through with that. I'll certainly take that check. It is what it is at this point right now, Joe, but let's give the people what they want. It's time for some best bet winners, and here's bye. 2-0 on Monday, 1-1 yesterday, still profitable. It's Wednesday. It's time to get that 2-0 night, Joe. Where are we going tonight?
Well, we're going to go here to the Staff DNA Cure Bowl, Johnny, featuring Old Dominion and South Florida here. And I had mentioned it's unfortunate that we're not getting both starting quarterbacks this year to play in this game. But there's a lot of changes, a lot more changes on the USF side there with no Byron Brown, no offensive coaching staff, all left, the head coach gone. 4 of the starters on the defensive side of the ball are gone. And meanwhile, ODU's coach, Ricky Rain, he has been fantastic. And he has been in this spot before. I like the stability with Old Dominion. Their backup quarterback has a ton of experience and is very similar to what their starting quarterback, Colton Joseph, played like all year long. When it comes down to it, Old Dominion getting points, take the points, sprinkle a little something on the money line here because this is an outright upset waiting to happen.
Had a nice little public fade last night, taking the New York Knicks when the Spurs were getting the money. That was an easy victory. Only 2 games in the NBA, but you know where I'm going today, Joe? Actually on a total, and this market is crashing as we speak. We have to give these picks in a little bit earlier this morning. 85% of the tickets on the over between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves, Joe. This line opened up overnight 236. It's down to 230 at some outlets now. I have it at 233.5, which I'm going to take the under in this game. But this is a public fade that I usually like just going side by side, but I can't pass it up. A crashing line on a total where the public is basically 90% advantage on the opposite side. We're going to take the under tonight. My first total in the NBA on our bye of the season. Grizzlies and T-Wolves, Joe.
Oh, fading the public, very, very profitable in the NBA all year long, and it has been for quite a while. So, yes, it even works for totals, Donnie.
It even works for totals. I'll tell you what else works here on a Wednesday hump day, getting you people there to the water cooler with more information that you need. Tomorrow, we're going to do it again on a Thursday where we have the NFL with a monster NFC battle in the West, and then get you ready for the college football playoff on Friday, and away we go. That's how it gets down right here on the early line. See you bright and early tomorrow.